4 o'clock on the dot. Two on the box, ready to go. They be fast, and we be fast, and they be slow. Oh, I can't even talk today. My voice is still not 100% where it should be just yet, but we're getting there. You got the draft coming up. We got a lot of stuff going on with this team. We got free agency coming in pending.
Any painter can
we got
paint,
any
but
painter
only
can painting all different
painters
things.
have
I don't know
the
why
power.
that's doing that. We got a lot of stuff going on here in Giant Land. The draft is, of course, in 8 days now. 8 days, and we will have an idea of the direction or the idea of the Giants. We got Giants Munming coming in strong, saying, "Do work, Tim. You know I will." We got Big Tom coming in saying, this draft is going to be interesting. You have a lot of moving parts and a lot of different things that Shane is looking at. And the excitement yesterday was that Hendon Hooker was coming in for one of the Giants' top 30 visits. And if those that do not know, you are allowed, as an NFL franchise, you are allowed to have basically 30 people come in, 30 of your top players come in for a meeting, forever, workout and all that fun stuff. And Hendon Hooker is coming in as well. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Everything's go Big Blue, go Giants, go everything. We got Admiral Mutombo coming in. We got Mr. Cortez Smith saying, "Tim, we don't always agree. That's okay. But we want what's that, and that's all that matters." That's true. We always want the best. You don't always have to agree. Agreeing's not fun. I love these channels, Cortez, that and I'm not talking about you specifically, but I love these channels that you're not allowed to have a dissenting opinion. You're not allowed to have a different opinion. It's groupthink. You have to have everyone has to believe the same way. If you're not a Giant fan. I've been a Giant fan since the 70s. Third generation Giant fan, season ticket holder, and someone, because I don't agree with them, tells me I'm not a Giant fan. And I'm not saying you, Mr. Smith. I'm just saying in general. We got Admiral Mutombo. What's up, Admiral? Coming in strong, saying salute to the best Giants content creator in the community. Thank you. Juan says, "I gave you a like because I like most of your talks." Well, that's good. And you know what, Juan? Even if you don't like it, it's okay. It's all right. You're not allowed. You don't have to like everything. Admiral Mutombo says it is sunny. It is sunny. It's a little chilly, but it is sunny. It's nice out. I spent some time out on the bike. I'm still getting over the cold, as you can possibly hear. We got Chris for the love of MMA coming in and says, "Already liked. Smash that. Respect him and the Giants." We got Zach Nation coming in strong saying, do you like the Jalen Hurts contract? You know what I find funny about the Jalen Hurts contract? And Zach Attack, you've emailed me or DM'd me a couple times. I find the contract interesting. You have a segment of Giant fans that are sitting there going, "Look, Joe Shane got a steal on the Daniel Jones contract. Ha ha ha. Look what we did." But then if you actually take a look at the contract, if you actually take a look at the Jalen Hurts contract, I mean, if you really, and not all the figures and not all the numbers are out yet, but someone sent me something and I've been playing with it and I've been looking at it, and I'm going to put it up on the screen here in reference to it, not a video clip. I don't want a video clip. I need a regular clip here. Let's see here. That's a background. I need what do I need? I need an overlay. All right. We have the particulars on this, some of the particulars on the Jalen Hurts contract. And I love it because you have some Giant fans when Daniel Jones signed his contract and people were upset. They were like, "Well, what do you care? It's not your money." I said the same thing to people. What do you care? It's not your money. If you take a look at this real quick, if you could see the Jalen Hurts numbers. Now, that first year, of course, is the last year of his rookie deal. Then you have the next 3 seasons. And then you look at Daniel Jones' contract. Of course, he didn't pick up the 5th-year option. So if you take the first 3 years of Jalen Hurts' contract and you tabulate the cap hit, it's 66, it's almost $67 million. Daniel Jones's first 2 years guaranteed is $66 million. So people can sit there and say, Joe Shane got a steal. Look what happened. But take a look at the deal. Take a look at the money. People are looking at the guaranteed money. But they're not looking at what the cap ramifications are for the team. So the first 24, 25, and 26 of the Jalen Hurts deal equals almost the identical same amount of guaranteed money on 23 and 24 of the Daniel Jones deal. Just bringing that up to people. I got copied on something or DM'd on something on Twitter or whatever the hell it's called. Yeah, Twitter. saying that, look at this contract. Joe Shane is just so awesome. Some ways I like having a little bit of the voice. I like having the voice. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why I like having the voice because, hopefully it would be nice to have this voice like all the time when you want it. But here we're going to try to find it so I can do it. Lombardi. I said magic still lingers in the day. No duels in the ice and the snow. See, I can do my John Facenda now, even so much better. What's up, Juan? All's good. We got Blazing coming in, Blazing saying, with Shane having his own guys in the scouting department, do you think the Giants will have a knockout draft? You have to hope the Giants have a knockout draft. You really do. You have to, because this has to be the building block draft after your first draft, and you have to hope that your first draft starts to mature and maturate. Because as much as Kayvon Thibodeau had a good 3-game stretch at the end of the year, there was 14 other games that he did not play well in. Or not didn't play well in, but he did not play up to expectations. You had Evan Neal had a little bit of an off season as well. You had Wan'Dale Robinson getting hurt. You got Bellinger getting hurt. So you have to hope the guys start maturing from the first draft. So you have to have a knockout draft. You have to have a good draft. You have to have a draft that just moves it forward. And when I was talking about Hendon Hooker, I see everyone now talking about, he's coming in for a top 30 visit with the Giants. And, they scouted him extensively on the off season. I don't think they're going to take Hooker. I mean, I'm a Hendon Hooker fan. I've said it a million times before, but I don't think they're taking Hooker just from the standpoint that even if you're going to groom a quarterback, are you really going to you have so many other deficiencies in other parts of this roster. Are you really going to take a flyer? Because there's probably going to have to be a second-round pick to get Hooker. I mean, are we really going to go that way? No, because you have too many other things that you have to work on with inside this organization. I like the kid out of Houston, Tune. I did a video about him. I said that he would probably be a good fit for the Giants because if you look at his physique, you look at his ability to throw the ball, you look at what he does well, it mirrors Daniel Jones. And you always want your backup quarterback to mirror your starting quarterback because of the fact that it makes it a hell of a lot easier to turn around. And if something happens to your starter, bring in your backup a second. Hold on a second. I got a problem with the camera a second. Hold on one second, guys. Had a camera issue. There, fix the camera issue. So you want your backup quarterback to match the skill set of your starting quarterback. So I think Tune out of Houston would be a good late 4th, 5th round pick for the Giants because of the fact that I think he fits the system. I think he fits the identity of the team. And I think he fits and mirrors what Daniel Jones does well. Blazing said, hope you're feeling better. I'm feeling better. Just can't talk. Zach Attack says, that would be, I thought you would that like when I found it. Yeah. It was like that when I found it. I get it. We also have Cortez. Since the cap hit is all the number. That's the number that matters. And we're gonna bring it up again because I just love people. Those are your numbers. Those are it. So 2024, 2025 is the first years of the Jalen Hurts contract. And like I said, if you take 23, I'm sorry, you go 2024, 2025, 2026, add those numbers up. They're almost identical to the first 2 years of Daniel Jones's contract. That's all I'm saying. People can toot their horn all they want, do all the shit they want. I don't care. But look at the numbers and look at the facts. Please. What's up, Hurst, for real? All is good. We got the OG knockout coming in strong. Cortez Smith said all the Giants have are a 2-year. Giants, although it's a 2-year deal, but technically, in some ways, it's a 3-year deal because you have an $18 million dead cap number in that third season. And why I'm telling you more of it, it's a 3-year deal. Even if Daniel Jones is not on the team, that $18 million is on the team. And I've said this before. A lot of general managers look at the cap as buckets. You have the quarterback bucket, you have the running back bucket, and you have X amount of money in each bucket. So if you have to go out and find a quarterback in 2025, you don't have a quarterback, let's say, but you already have $18 million worth of salary in your quarterback bucket on the book. So even if you go out and find a quarterback for $20 million, that first year, that quarterback's not worth $20 million, he's worth $38 million. That's what people seem to forget. And that's what people have to go on. We got Blazing saying, if Shane selects a quarterback within the first 4 rounds, would he be considered a Jones replacement? If he takes Hendon Hooker, yes. If he takes Hendon Hooker, it shows that there is. If he takes someone like what's his name? If he takes someone like Tune later in the 5th round, no. But if you take Hooker anywhere in the first 3 rounds, you're saying you're not 100% sold on Jalen Jones. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't see it happening. I don't see it being it's a necessity and a need to the fact that Tyrod Taylor is a year older, but I just can't see them doing it. I just can't see them doing it whatsoever. Hurts reals, and maybe they draft a quarterback, but not at 25. I still think the Giants trade out of 25. I've showed the numbers on my last video that the amount of money they will save just by moving. You're in 25. If you move 17 spots out of 25, let's say, you're saving $1 million something. Yes, you lose that 5th-year option. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but you are also saving guaranteed money versus your salary cap. And you could potentially get 2 starters in the 2nd round by just getting out of that 25th pick. Just something to think about. Do you think Brandon Beede is involved in the process? Yeah, of course he is. He's the assistant general manager. He's got to be. If he's not involved in the process, then then we got some props. Hurts of reals. Who doesn't like a good tune? A lot of people don't like a good tune. Tune, like I said, 4th, 5th round. 4th, 5th round for Tune. I think you're good. I really do think you're good. I think, like I said, I think he's a guy that can come in, and I think he's a guy that can come in with, like I said, go back and watch the video I did. His arm strength is going to be what gets some people away from him. And I don't think that should be the way, because of the fact that I think he has at least an above average NFL arm. He doesn't have a Josh Allen arm. He doesn't have a Patrick Mahomes arm, but he's got an average NFL arm. And I think he can make all the throws, and I think he can make all the NFL throws. And I always love it because people are like, well, Tim knew what's interesting. You always hear the term making the NFL throws. And you think to yourself, isn't college football, the field, the same size? Isn't it the same size? I mean, honestly, this is what someone asked me yesterday, and I laughed because I had like a 20-minute conversation with them on Twitter. And they're like, isn't it the same size? What's the difference between making the throw in college and making the NFL throw? And honestly, usually you're going to go a little deeper in pros. Everything's going to be a lot faster. And the fact that you are going to have to learn more in reference to anticipation when you're making the throw. And that's why they're always saying you need to be able to make NFL throws. What's up, Timothy? Hey, Tim, should the Giants draft a corner or an interior lineman with the 25th pick, but not a wide receiver? I still like Hyatt. I still think he's Devontae Smith-esque. I like Cam Smith out of South Carolina. We talked about Cam a couple times before. Big body guy. His nice press cover corner. He has a physicality about him, and we've talked about this. He's got a physicality about him. He doesn't. Eli Apple, when he came out of college, I said I did not like the pick because Eli Apple was handsy. And when you're handsy in college, this is something that you have been doing since Pop Warner. You have not gotten out of that habit since you were 9 years old. You are now 20, 21 years old, and you're still handsy. Cam Smith, the difference between him is he's not handsy. He's what I refer to as being he's a player who at times is over physical. He goes for the knockout blow. He straddles that line between smart and hard-nosed football and being over aggressive. And you can get away with being over aggressive in South Carolina. But that is something you need to rein in at the pro level. If you don't rein that in at the pro level, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some, like the kid we picked up from Detroit. I love it because he's a veteran minimum deal kid from Detroit. And I talked to the same people that I talked to in Detroit 2 years ago when we signed Kenny G. And I asked them, how come you guys aren't upset about it? And they gave me the whole scoop. I asked them again about this kid, and they were like, good press cover corner, has issues with fluidity in his hips, and he has no makeup speed. Basically, they were saying that if he gets burnt, it's lights out. And that's a bad combination if you have Adoree Jackson as your CB1 and this kid that's starting on the other side of the field. And a good quarterback knows, okay, I'll just stay away from the right side. I'll go to the left. And you're gonna have to bring over the top safety help for this kid. And if that's the case, that is also then going to reopen up the other side of the field and the interior of the field. It's a bad way to play defense. Zach says, I feel that if the Giants, if Daniel Jones fails, it will be anyone else's fault besides him. His own then looks fan base will blame Dable and Shane. You know that's going to happen. We're going in year 5 with Daniel Jones. Year 5. And some people think 3,900 total yards and 22 touchdowns. It was this wonderful season's breakout year. It's an average season for a rookie. If we just be honest about it, I think we'll all be better. OG Knockout says, but Jalen Hurts deserves his money. He got the team to the Super Bowl. He did. And you know what? And like I said, when Giant fans said it, when Daniel Jones got the money, what do you care? It's not your money. Jalen Hurts made the playoffs 2 years in a row, got to the Super Bowl, was in league consideration for MVP the entire season until he missed 2 games with an injury. And then he kind of didn't come back and play as well those other 3 games. And I love it when people compare Daniel Jones' stats. We're going to compare Daniel Jones' stats to Jalen Hurts. Different quarterbacks, different games, different teams. You can't do that. That's all right. Blazin, if you were the GM, what was your priorities and order of selection? I'm trading out of number 1. Going to try to get a second rounder in the top part of the second round, and then possibly a 5th rounder in this year's draft. I'm probably going to try to go corner, and then I'm going to go center. I like Tippmann. I like Tippmann a lot. He's a big guy. R0B and I talked about it on Sunday. He's a big guy. He's 6'6". Some people say he's 6'7". That's a big guy. That's a big guy to have at center. Some people are thinking about moving him out to guard. But the way the Giants play offense, he is a perfect fit for the Giants. Same him and the kid from Notre Dame. Same thing. Perfect fit for the Giants and the way their offensive line works. That's personally, like I said, if I'm not trading out and Hyatt's sitting there, I'm grabbing a wide receiver. I think the Giants trade down out of 25, use the game picks for next year. No, they're not going to. I wish they would go with Caleb. They're not going that way. Cortez Smith said, let's fix the O-line for the love of God, just in case DJ doesn't work out. You're going to need a quarterback either way. That's the problem. You're going to need a quarterback. And you got to hope that Daniel Jones is the guy. Chris for the love of MMA. There was a mock draft that had us moving up to 20 for the league for the wide receiver. Forget which one. They say, I think it was Flowers. I hope we don't reach up to the draft. I've seen a lot of people like Flowers. My wife likes Flowers, but it doesn't mean you're going to draft him. And I think, to your point, if you are going to reach up from 25 to 20, you're probably giving up a 4th or a 5th round pick just to do that. And the problem with that is this is not a draft to reach. This draft has good depth at certain positional values, and it has limited depth in other positions. And I think wide receiver is that position you do not reach in this draft. Quarterback you can reach in this draft because I think 4 are going to go in the top 10. And I think that's going to push down a lot of guys that you are going to think we're going to go in the top 10 into the top 20. Or I should say between 20 and 25. So I do think that. Zach Attack says, do you think Barkley will come back to the Giants, or will he pull a Le'Veon Bell despite Bell running his career? That's a good question. I keep getting the Saquon Barkley question. It's not a big deal that Saquon did not go to voluntary off this voluntary program. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal that Dexter Lawrence didn't do it. And I know there was some talk about the fact that, there may be some animosity in the locker room for Daniel Jones getting his deal and Saquon not getting his deal. But, the season hasn't even started yet. No one's in the locker room yet. And I've said this before. You also have a lot of people on Twitter that are talking about this who've never been in locker rooms before. You don't always get along. You don't. I told people before, I had a coach that told me you don't have to like the people that you play with, but you have to respect them. And I think that goes a long way, especially for a team like the Giants. And I did see the one thing where, and I have to agree, the Giants aren't good enough to have any internal. problem. But I'm not too worried about it. I think Shane is happy that he doesn't have to pay Barkley. And I think in some ways it could potentially backfire. And I don't think they're going to take a running. Again, you have a running back under contract. I don't think the Giants are going to turn around and take a running back and leave up a chance to draft another positional value like a guard or a center or a linebacker or a corner over positions they already have. That's why I don't think they're going to go Hendon Hooker, because of the fact that you have a quarterback, you have a backup quarterback. Unless you have limited faith in Daniel Jones, that is the only reason why you go out and grab a guy coming off an ACL. Just saying. OG Knockout said, so if Daniel Jones fails, I think it should fall back on John Mara because he's the one who believes in Daniel Jones. No, if Daniel Jones fails, it falls on Joe Shane. And that's the way it's always going to be. Everyone talks about the failures of Dave Gettleman. Okay. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney. I mean, there is a bunch of guys that he drafted that are playing prominent roles on this team. It's just his failures in free agency is what cost the Giants. I think a lot of these failures were pushed on by Mara, who then used the general manager, like I think they used Jerry Reese in some regards, as a scapegoat to get rid of him. And I think, and at the end of the day, Mara's never going to take blame for anything. He's always going to pass the buck. Oh, we had a 2 from OG. Own defense will be better than own offense. Again, I think the defense is always going to be a little bit better because I don't think I know Joe Shane came out and said, not Joe Shane, Brian Dable came out and said, well, Daniel Jones could hit the ground running because of the fact that he now has continuity. The Duck in LA, Justin Herbert, had 5 different offensive coordinators in 5 seasons going back to college. And I believe 3 years in the pros. And never skipped a beat in any of those years. Sometimes mistake. What's going on, my brother? How are you doing today? I'm still under the weather, but we're still rolling along. We got Ralphie coming in and says, why would DJ fail? Most players don't even get to the playoffs. And even if first of all, DJ didn't get to the playoffs. The Giants got to the playoffs. The Giants were 7-2 to start the season and finished 5-2-1 at the end. They only got to the playoffs because of the fact, and Daniel Jones, 3,900 yards and 22 touchdowns is not the case. And there's plenty of bad quarterbacks who made the playoffs. Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer went to a Super Bowl. Brad Johnson went to a Super Bowl. There's plenty of bad quarterbacks who had good teams around them. So to say that Daniel Jones made the playoffs, you're discrediting the entire Giant organization. Daniel Jones was a cog in the machine. I think in some ways you could have replaced Daniel Jones with Tyrod Taylor and had similar results. But that's all right. Zach said the draft is like 2014. In some ways, it is like 2014. What does Jonathan have to say? I hate to say it, but the Eagles might have the best front office. The Eagles deal is a killer, man. It is literally a killer. I mean, look at the numbers. The first year is his rookie deal. The next 3 seasons are the cap hit. And if you add up those 3 seasons, they equate to the first 2 seasons of Daniel Jones's guaranteed money. That's like, and they must believe in Jalen a hell of a lot more than they believe in Giants believe in Daniel Jones because of the fact that why would you do that? He's a good fit for the team. That's why. What does Mr. Smith says? Let's see here. I think they should draft a surefire tight end. Waller is not going to be here. And I just have a feeling Bellinger doesn't have the factor. Wait, the thing with Bellinger is I see more of a Jake Ballard in Bellinger. I see him being a good blocking tight end, an occasional wide receiver. He's a step above Caden Smith. Waller, if he reverts back to the only problem with Waller is he's a year older. He's now going to be 3 years removed from injury. What have we got going on here? He's 3 years removed from injury. So you got to hope that he is well. I love it because you saw a video of Waller walking into the building. You had some Giant fans go, "He's ready for work," and you had Raider fans going, "Look how depressed he looks walking into the stadium." Some people are crazy. The only thing I worry about Waller is, Derek Carr came out and said that there was a player on the Raiders who quit. And he said this during the season. He quit on the team. And then after he got traded, he came out and said it was Darren Waller. Or didn't get traded. After he moved on to the Saints, he comes out and says it's Darren Waller. So that's something that bothers me a little bit. The 85 Bears offense didn't like each other. No, the 85 Bears offense and defense was the 85 Super Bowl was the only Super Bowl in NFL history when the the head coach and the defensive coordinator both got carried off the field, because there was such a divided locker room that the defense hated the offense. The defense loved Buddy Ryan and hated Mike Ditka. So that's a great point. Mr. Alvarez coming in strong. Said, speaking of Saquon, do you think they will trade him? No, if they trade him, it's going to have to be on draft night. If they don't move him on draft night, this saga is going to go through the whole summer. And so you're going to have to deal with it. I mean, we're all going to have to deal with it. We got Jonathan coming in strong saying, I see CB, wide receiver, corner in the first 2 rounds, regardless of the order. I would like to go. I'd like for them to go to wide receiver. I really would like a wide receiver in the first round. I think Hyatt's going to be there. He's a guy with a slight frame. I've said this a million times before. He's got that speed. He's got that it factor. He's got a little Devontae Smith in him. He can help stretch and open the field for the Giants and open up those big targets in the middle of the field. I don't think that he was I don't think he was a product of Hendon Hooker as much as Hendon Hooker was a product of Hyatt. So I don't think you have to worry about that as well. And if you think you have a quality and good quarterback in Daniel Jones, it's the way to do it. It really is. Mr. Alvarez says a wide receiver I like on day 2 is AT's Perry's Wake Forest 6'5", 4'4". He's been consistent. Wide receiver. I actually have to look him up. I have not really looked him up. I'll do a little research on that as well. Mr. Irish over says Tim Hope all as well. And I'm feeling better. Just my voice is gone. My voice is gone, but I'm feeling good. The Dahmer was supposed to be here helping me save the day on this, but the Dahmer's late as always. Zach Tech says the only quarterback in 2010 that got the Giants to is Eli Manning. In 2011, the team was all Manning. You're right. Speaking of the draft, I have 2 tickets left to go to the draft in East Rutherford and in MetLife Stadium. It's going to be me. We got Big El Gigante going to also roll out with us. If you are interested in going, we have 2 tickets left. Email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com. That's tim@onlineBigBlue.com. Whoops. Oh, lost my sound there. Email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com, tim@onlineBigBlue.com. And maybe you can go. Now, these are season tickets. These are not the general admission tickets. So you are going to be on the field during the draft. You are going to get a locker room tour. You are also going to get an autograph session inside the coaches club. So if you are interested in going, email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com. Captain Matumgo says, how is the special teams will look? It's funny. You really can't gauge the special teams. And it's interesting because of the fact that special teams are always the guys from 46 and down on the roster, 45 and down on the roster. So really it's going to depend on how the Giants draft and how well they work out and how the other guys turn around. So, and it has special teams special teams is about desire in your coach. You have to have a desire to play special teams, and you have to have a coach that understands the nuances of special teams. And I think the Giants will have both. What is Hopkins? We're not going after Hopkins. We don't have the money. Right now, we have like $4 million in cap space. I think it is. I forget. We're going to need about 3.5 if we stay at 25 for the rookie pool. Now, the rookie allotment is like 10.8. We've talked about this a million times. The rookie allotment is 10.8, but you only need the guaranteed money off the rule of 51 until the end of training camp. So that's only about 3.8 million. That's all we're going to need, but that's going to eat up a lot of our cap space. Now, the problem is if all every guy makes the roster, let's say. Here's what's going to happen if every guy makes the roster. What's going on with Dom? Dom is having IT issues. If every guy makes the roster, as soon as the Rule 51 expires, all those contracts at that point in time are then part of the cap space. So that's what the Giants need to look out for. Mr. Oliver says, I wouldn't be surprised if Waller looks like Kyle Rudolph and Daniel Jones as his quarterback. You know, you could say that Golden Tate was a product of Daniel Jones. I think you can somewhat say that Kenny G was a product of Daniel Jones. Kyle Rudolph was just washed up. I got so much shit because of the fact that I basically said when we signed Kyle Rudolph, that I said he's washed up. He's done. He's over. He's got literally, you could tell from the last 2 previous years in Minnesota, he had nothing in the tank. So I'm not going to fault him on Daniel Jones. Let's see. Rob is buying everyone alcohol. Who's buying us alcohol? Yeah, let's get some alcohol in there. We got Stu coming in strong, saying Phillies always fleeces other teams, always gets the better of the deals and the trade. It's a good deal. I mean, you could like Philadelphia, you can hate Philadelphia, you could do whatever you want with Philadelphia, but if you look at it, it's a good deal. The guaranteed cap hit money in the first 3 years equals Daniel Jones's first 2 years of guaranteed money. It's a team-friendly, cap-friendly deal for them. You can love the Eagles, you can hate the Eagles, but you're right. You're right, Stu. You're 100% right. The Giants are moving on from big body wide receivers and are going to be more shifty small guys. I hope not. I really hope not, because you do need a big body wide receiver. You also need a guy. I think some of the guys that were on the Giants last year proved you need a big body wide receiver who can block downfield. And I think that's what the Giants need. I think that's what the Giants need to find. And like I said, Hyatt doesn't fit that mold, but he gives to something the Giants don't have outside of Waller. And that is a big play capability. That is a big, what is going on here? I don't know who that is. That is a big play option. That is a big play capability. And you need that on the outside because of the fact that if you want to open up the inside for the run, you want to open up the inside for Bellinger and and Waller, and when Wilder Robinson comes back, when Sterling Shepard comes back, you want to open up those slot guys. The best way to do that is to go vertical. We're going vertical. We've talked about it before. It's a key word in the dictionary, vertical. And that's what the Giants need to do. And that'll open up so much more of the offense. Dom says, I've had plenty of alcohol. That why you can't get your computer on? Dom is too busy watching the Arsenal lose. We got coming in here. Skyline says, hey, guys, what did I miss? You missed the fact that we're talking about the Giants. Make sure you come in and hit the like button. We're talking about the draft. We're talking about where the Giants should go. We're talking about where they shouldn't go. And the Giants are picking at a weird spot. And I mean this in not in a bad way, but the Giants winning 9 games and making the playoffs dropped them exponentially down in the draft. Now I will definitely take that and have a playoff appearance. I will definitely have that trade-off. I have no problem with that. But here's the problem I have. You are now sitting at 25 and you still have a dearth of talent in different places. Oh, I think the Dahmer's here. It must be here because we dropped from 35 to 29. It's the Arsenal fan. It's the Dahmer coming in talking strong about the Giants. Or not.
Well, let's not big me up too much. Let's wait and see how it is, because I got mixed up between my Madden save and real life last week. Let's.
Oh yeah, last time Dom thought Paris Campbell was on the Detroit Lions. And I kept trying to tell him, no, he was never not on the Indianapolis Colts. He goes, well, he was in the Detroit Lions Madden League.
Yeah, turns out I signed him from the Lions in my Madden League, and I got the two mixed up.
Signed him from the Lions on his Madden League. That's even better. Stu says, take a top wide receiver in the draft. Dom, are you going to go wide receiver in the draft? If you're the G-man, are you going wide receiver?
What first round?
Yeah, first round.
No.
Where are you going then?
I'm either trading down or if there's a corner there, I'm taking corner.
You got to pick a name.
I mean, I don't think Gonzalez will be there. Porter Jr. maybe, but I think he's either going to make it or be a complete bust. I think there's an in between with him. But yeah, a corner Witherspoon maybe. But again, I don't know who's there. I think the corners might be gone, which is why I'd favour trading down.
How far down you going to trade down?
I don't want to trade down out of 30s, 37, 38 maybe at worst. I think Seattle, I think you mentioned in a video earlier this week, Seattle sort of seems about right. I could see them wanting to trade up and take Hooker to sit behind. I think you said that earlier this week, but I've been thinking for a while.
Yeah, I can't see the Giants spending all this money on Daniel Jones and then taking Hendon Hooker. I can't see it.
No, I mean we're not going to, but Seattle might.
I think Seattle's got 2 first-round picks. And I believe they're also at 10. But I think with Geno Smith, I think Seattle will take, will try to revamp their roster a little bit. And I think, like I said, I think potentially they could trade back into the lower half of the first round to grab a quarterback if a Hendon Hooker is there.
Yeah, I think so too. Trade out Drew Lock, and you run with Drew Luck, and you go with Geno and Hooker. I that makes a lot of sense for them.
Well,
the reason I don't go wide receiver in round 1 is simply because until Jones proves to me that he can throw the ball, I don't want to. And I think we've already upgraded that wide receiving core. I don't think it's there. I think there's a long way to go, but that's why I don't go wide receiver this year.
But really, honestly, you think about it, we really haven't upgraded the wide receiving core. You signed Paris Campbell, and then you brought
you've upgraded the receiving core.
And you got the kid. You got what's his name, Crowder. You got Brad Smith. A bunch of filler guys. I mean, you still need that wide receiver.
You need the wide receiver one, no question. But I think that coupled with the tight end issue, if he can stay healthy, I think improves your pass catching ability there. But you're right. You need a wide receiver one. But until Jones shows me that he can throw for over 200 yards consistently a game, well, 300 yards ideally, then I don't go wide receiver one for him at this point. I think we're still a run-heavy team.
I'd take 2. Tim, do you think Jaron Merrill will allow Joe to draft a quarterback in the first round because of the deal he set up for DJ? Really has a 2-year out on his contract. Hooker would be a perfect fit. I mean, I've loved Hendon Hooker since the Florida game. I think everyone's known that. I've talked about it ad nauseum at times. I'm not scared of the age. I'm not scared of the ACL. I am scared of the fact that the Giants have so many other deficiencies in the roster that quarterback, since you just gave Daniel Jones X amount of money for 2 seasons guaranteed, is going to be your quarterback going into 2026. So I just don't see the Giants doing that. I mean, I would love it. I think it'd be a great day. I mean, I would have a blast if they took Hooker. But
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's a bit like we talked about Willis last year. Now, I wouldn't have done it in round 1. That's where we disagreed. But we both agreed that it wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen.
I think Hooker's going to go in the latter half of the first. I really do think that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of quarterback needy teams.
I think there's going to be a run on the top 4. Some guys are going to get pushed down, and some people are going to push into the latter half of the draft. And that's why I think the Giants are in a good position to move into a second pick into the second round and maybe a 5th rounder as well in this year's draft.
So I agree. I think you want to trade out unless there is a top prospect there, you want to trade out. We were talking last week about the running back, and I was like, the only scenario I can see the running back at 25, but I don't think it will happen. I really don't. But you're right. I mean, you look at the top 4. The Colts are taking a quarterback. The Texans are saying they won't, but they will.
They will. Of course, they're going to say we're not going to do it. Nobody
Carolina, it's absolute rubbish. Carolina will. That's 3 gone. That's Stroud, Young, and
I think Richardson's going to go in the top 10.
Yeah, exactly. Richardson or Levis will go to Colts, and then the other one will go. There's no way that both of them drop out the top 10.
No.
And I could see someone trading into 3. I really could. Maybe even the Colts. If you're the Colts right now, you trade into 3 and don't risk.
If you're the Colts, you're sitting in a good position right now. Because
if someone jumps you.
Unless someone jumps you, but someone. I think the Colts are under the assumption that a quarterback's going to fall to them.
Yeah, it depends. If you like Levis and Richardson equally, and you can't pick between them, then you stick bat at 4. But if it's one you prefer, I think you see what you can do to get to 3. I really do.
Mr. Duck says, "What rookies from last year do you expect to get a starting spot this year?" I'm not going to go with a rookie. I'm going to go with a rookie who already had a starting spot. I'm going Evan Neal. And I know he's going to start this year, but I think there is going to be an exponential improvement in his play from year 1 to year 2. I always harken back to Andrew Thomas. So many Giant fans, and I love it because it's the same people now that are worshiping Andrew Thomas as a god, that wanted to get rid of him halfway through his sophomore season. He was a bust. He was terrible, Dom. We should have gone Rashawn Slater. We should have got Mekhi Becton. We should have got this.
Yeah, I was going to say Becton was the one springing to mind.
Becton,
I remember talking to you the whole way, both one, but give Thomas Tyne left tackle one of the 3 hardest positions transitioned into the NFL at. He'll be fine.
right,
and here we are.
To me, it's quarterback, left tackle, corner as the 3 hardest positions to come in and start as a rookie. And it's not just about, and I keep saying this what aggravates me. And nothing aggravates me, but this is what aggravates me, Dom. I'm gonna tell you what, what aggravates me? I'm gonna tell you what aggravates me. Someone comes in and has one good season. They're automatically anointed by some people as the greatest player at X position. Your career is not built off of one season. Your career is built off of 4, 5, because that's when you get your second contract. And you have so many people that were so down. They're Giant fans that were so down on Andrew Thomas. Such a bust. After two seasons, not even a year and a half, are the same players that same fans, year 5 of Daniel Jones, are telling people, this is it. He's got continuity. This is where we turn it around. It's year 5. Andrew Thomas played like 19 games. And there was a segment of fans that wanted to get rid of him.
I think you can make the same argument about Thibodeau last year. Halfway through the season, absolute bust. What a waste.
He was
and then by the end of the season, what a pickup.
He has 3 good games, and people are like, "Oh, he's the next Lawrence Taylor."
And don't get me wrong, I think Thibodeau will be a very good player for the Giants. So I think those 3 games are more what I expect to see from Thibodeau and what I think we will see from Thibodeau. But it makes your point in a nutshell. It's like in one season he went from a bust to a hero to a bust again, and you're like,
do you want to know why I'm saying Evan Neal though? Do you want to know why? Why I think he's going to make that leap? Do you want to know why?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you. You have an all.
that seemed the right answer.
You have an all-pro Pro Bowler at your left tackle, correct?
Yeah. I mean,
where are you going to attack on that line?
Well, I'm going through the middle, but you're going to go right side.
You're going to go right side.
Yeah, right there, left.
Versus the rookie.
Yeah.
You're not going to go against Andrew Thomas. You are going to go the other side of the line and attack the rookie. He got a crash course of hard knocks in 1 year, Evan Neal. Now, I have a feeling that he has the mental fortitude to turn around and be successful. And I think some Giant fans, to your point, everyone was Kayvon Thibodeau's a bust. Kayvon Thibodeau's a bust. He's another Javon Clowney. Is this blah, 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 blah. I kept saying, just give the kid time. Give him time. He's got to learn how to finish his plays. Showed it in the Texans game, and then he did what he did in Washington. But I think that some people just get too excited that they don't know that these guys are rookies. And if you have a Pro Bowler on the left side, a smart defensive coordinator says, screw that. I'm going after the rookie on the other side.
Well, of course you do. Why would you not, right?
Cedric Tillman in the 3rd round. I like Tillman. Wide receiver, Tennessee. He's a big kid. 6'3", I think. 6'3", 6'4", I don't remember. But he's a bigger kid, a little slower. He runs like I think he ran like a 4.54 or something like that. But he's a big body guy, and I would take him in the latter half of the rounds. Good target.
Just back on the rookies, by the way, just before we go on, because I was full. It was not my finest moment. There's one of many. But that made me laugh when I saw it originally, Zach. So kudos. But on the rookies, what do you think? Davidson or Beavers maybe as other potential shouts for starters? I mean, I like having a nose tackle, and maybe Davidson can be that.
I like Davidson a lot. I like Davidson last year. The Giants actually played better versus the run. Hold on. Hold on. He played better versus the run.
Davidson's good against the run, no question.
But he actually the Giants played better against the run when Leonard Williams was out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's funny, the year prior to that too, we talked about it before. They also played better against the run when Leonard Williams was out. So, DJ Davidson to me is a more of a Dalvin Tomlinson type player that you can then pair. It's interesting. This was interesting. And you'll find this interesting because you think everything I say is interesting. Just kidding.
I'm contractually obliged to say yes to that question.
You are contractually obliged to say yes.
Hang on a second. I might need one of these.
That's not a Bud Light, is it?
No, but you missed my joke on that last week, and I was very disappointed.
I'm sorry. It's interesting that Dexter Lawrence had a better season, or more towards a breakout season this year, when he had a big body like DJ Davidson at times playing alongside of him, and he had his breakout years or his better years when he had Dalvin Tomlinson. His down year last year was when he was playing more alongside
King of the almost sack,
who I believe is now the fourth highest paid player in the NFL.
Oh God, yes. So it's definitely top. I thought he was fifth, but I was going to say he's up there. But they're two similar as players, right? I mean, and it doesn't work as a tandem when there's, you need the differential on that line.
You need the guy you need the body plugger, and that's what Dalvin Tomlinson was. Dalvin Tomlinson did the dirty work. He did the stuff that you didn't see. And that's
very much so.
I think that's what DJ Davidson does.
We always overlook those players, but they are fundamentally one of the most, if not the most important players.
We don't ever overlook them on this.
But they're so important. They really are on both lines.
Joe Rez says, Tim, don't say filler, guys. According to Jones stands, weapons are the reasons we don't need Saquon. You do have a segment of fans now, Dom, that are saying that we don't need Saquon Barkley.
We do.
We let him go. That Malk. You know what's funny? Saquon Barkley, the perfect giant, never says anything wrong, never does anything wrong. Consummate professional. All of a sudden now is a garbage player because he doesn't want to play for $10 million. Now he's a garbage. We don't need him. He's rushed for has 3,000 yard seasons. He's injury prone, Dom. Even though him and Daniel Jones played about the same amount of games, he's injury prone. And this was the first year Daniel Jones was healthy.
He's not a locker room guy either.
Locker room guy.
Don't forget that.
Let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
Newsflash.
He was instrumental to our season last season.
He was a catalyst for the team. I'm just gonna whisper that.
Don't say it too loud.
Don't say it too loud because I don't want to get in trouble.
Joe Judge says that Saquon's injuries cost him his job. Definitely not the quarterback Neil, right?
No. Stu says, how big tight ends have two big, one good ones like New England use Gronk and Hernandez. I don't dislike Bellinger, Dom. I don't dislike the
No, I like Bellinger a lot, but I'm not saying he's not Gronkowski.
No, he's not Hernandez either. You know, we all know what happened. Aaron Hernandez. I'm not going to get into that. He's not. He's to me, he's a step above Caden Smith, and that's not a slight because he's still an NFL tight end, but he's not this. You've seen the way he plays. He blocks okay, doesn't block great. He's
an average blocker. You're right.
He's an average blocker. He's an average pass catcher. He doesn't have speed, but he has the ability to find the open spot on the field, which is what you want your tight end to do. If they thought so highly of Daniel Bellinger, they would have traded the third round pick for Darren Waller.
Yeah, exactly.
I
like Bellinger.
I like Bellinger too, but that's like if the Giants draft Hendon Hooker, it's because of the fact they do not believe in the total value of Daniel Jones. I don't think they're going to do it, Because, like I said, there's too many other holes on the
They're not
team.
going to do it.
They're not going to draft a quarterback, and they're not going to draft a running back, at least not in the first 5 rounds, in my opinion.
I could see the running back in the 4th. I can't see it before that, but so I'd go one higher than you. But
Giants 34 says best wide receiver draft is Zane Flowers. The guy is from TCU is going to be just like Kenny G with Daniel Jones. Oh yeah, I know. He's being funny. I know, but you might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. Do you think Dane Belton will take a big leap this upcoming season? He's going to have to. You have Bobby McCain that you signed from Washington, league veteran minimum. You let a player go that was 3-4 years younger, more athletic, more speed, who was probably coming into his prime in Julian Love. You gave Bobby a league veteran minimum contract. You're gonna have to hope that Dane
he is a definition of filler.
He is a definition of filler. Dane got benched. I remember when Dane got benched in the Texan game. I was there. I remember that.
If you're not performing against the Texans, then
and we were all like, "Is he hurt? Is there something wrong? Is he hurt?" And we never really got a clear answer on why he got benched. And he got benched for a long, extended period of time. He didn't really come back towards the end of the season. And he did make plays when he was in, but I think at times he drove Wink crazy. Because being at the games, Dom, and you know this because you've now been to MetLife.
Yeah.
Except I don't think we ever left the field. Did we ever go to the seats?
No, we didn't. But I had a great time.
Well,
L made me laugh the whole way through. But I had a great time.
L is coming with me to the draft party.
Is he? Yeah, super.
He's one of the guests coming to the draft party. But when you're at the game, you can see more. And our seats are usually, I think we're probably about 17 rows up on the 50. So you really see the whole field. If you would have sat in the seat, you would have really saw the whole field. So you see more of what the coaches see after the game when they review the game film. And I think Dane drove Wink crazy because there were a number of times being at the game, you knew that he was out of position. And I think that's what caused him to get benched.
Yeah, you'd hope he'd learn from that. I mean, I don't think Dane Belton's career is over by any means.
No. I think he can come in. I think he can play.
Yeah, I have a lot of time for Dane Belton. He's one of those guys you sort of root for. I don't think he'll ever be the most amazing NFL player in his position, but he's one of those guys you root for because you can see him giving it his all. And I've always had a soft spot for those guys. I think he
could be a starter.
I think he's going to have to be, to your point, and it depends on what we draft, right?
I think he could be a quality starter.
I think he can be a good starter. I'm not sold on quality, but you never know. You never know. Just because you've had a tough rookie season doesn't mean you can't make it, right? And just because you've had an excellent rookie season doesn't mean you're going to be an all-pro. How many people have we seen have a great first season and go fall off a cliff, right?
Cortez Smith says the fan base overrated Tony off of the one Cowboy game in 2021. I don't disagree.
Yeah,
and I don't think we were ever sold on that, Dom. Were we?
Oh, I hated the pick. If you remember on the draft night, I was not.
I think we all did.
Well, we didn't all, but you and I both were there, and I was like, I could live with the trade down, but right. But I wasn't ecstatic about it. But I certainly was not enamored with the pick in any way, shape, or form. I was beside myself with why would you do that? But I think it worked out the Chiefs. I think it fit brilliantly in there, and he's got a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl touchdown.
He had the big 60+ yard punt return. So I mean, you got to give him that. I mean, when our own giant coaching staff, basically, I mean, our two during his rookie season, we've talked about it. Our special teams coach came out and said he's not ready to return punts.
I reckon I could give returning punts a go.
Yeah, you might be. Chris says quarterback, left tackle, corner are also the 3 hardest and most important positions to play in the NFL today. Period. You're right. And that's the way I see it. I mean, if it's me, those are my 3 things, Chris. Corner.
I think they're the top 3.
Huh?
They're the top 3. I think I'd almost put corner above left tackle if you're coming in as CB1. but normally he can come in as CB2 and transition.
No, because you're protecting the blind side of your quarterback.
It's both are tough. I mean,
you can come in as a corner and have over the top safety help.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if you're coming into a bad secondary, then it's probably as hard as left tackle. But most corners will come in and there'll be some kind of protection for you, which is what makes it easier.
I love this one. Tim, you are the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, Chris, you're a kiss ass. Chris, you're a kiss ass.
You want to go to the game? Is that it? You want to go to the draft party?
Don't help him. He's got a big enough ego as it is.
Techies with the most interesting man alive. The most interesting man alive.
Hey Tim, this will crack you up. Someone I worked with today was like, it was a tongue-in-cheek comment. It was like, I think you have the biggest ego in the world. I was like, no, I definitely don't.
Not even close.
Let me introduce you to Tim.
I was going to say, let me send you Tim's text. Let me send you Tim's cell phone number, and you can text him directly, and you can see that. I don't have the biggest ego in the world. Maybe like the second biggest.
Well, Joe Judge has a bigger ego than you.
Joe Judge definitely has bigger. No, I don't know. We might be tied. He says I meant defensive line. Okay. Let's see. Stu says instead of drafting wide receiver, draft tight end. One much better than Bellinger. You have Waller. Why would you want to draft anyone? You have Waller.
I mean, if you're taking tight end, you're not doing it before round 4 without the 3rd round pick, right?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Oh, what is this one? Big Pat Sports is always talking crap about you because he wants to be me. About you and how great the Jones contract is versus Hurts. Is he wrong? Yes. I'm not exactly sure what exactly I saw something on Twitter about it, but I'm gonna pull it up again, Dom, because you and I talked about this. You can see this. The first year of Hurts' contract is this. That's part of his, it's an extension, so that's his rookie contract. The next 3 seasons, if you total it up, equals 67+ million, when Daniel Jones's first 2 seasons guaranteed equals 66 million.
And who are you taking, Hurts or Jones?
I'm taking Hurts.
It was a rhetorical question, but thanks for answering.
I'm taking Jalen. That's just what I'm.
Yeah, I was wrong about Jalen. I mean, I thought he would be a league average quarterback, if I'm honest, and he surpassed that. Maybe if the talent dips around him, then maybe he's not that. But so far, so good. Like he's shown more on his rookie deal than Jones has.
I've been saying since his rookie season, Jalen Hurts, and I've taken crap for it that I would take Jalen Hurts over Daniel Jones. I said that
he's always had the it factor. That's the one thing I always said about him, but he's always had the it factor.
There is certain. Phil Simms was one of those quarterbacks. Phil Simms was not the most gifted NFL starting quarterback. Was not the most gifted. He had talent, but he was not the most gifted. But he had an it factor. He had a rallying factor. There was something that you saw in Phil Simms, that there was this tenacity, there was this feistiness, there was this thing that he would go fight Ronnie Lott on the field.
If you were playing in his team, you wanted to run for a wall for him, right?
Teammates rallied around him. And that's the thing. I'm not saying they don't do that for Daniel Jones, but you see that with Jalen Hurts. You go after Jalen Hurts, you have 52 other guys coming off the field to defend Jalen Hurts. And that is what they refer to as the it factor. That is what they refer to as a locker room guy. And that's what it is. And if Big Pat wants to talk crap about me, that's fine. I don't care, because you know what? I don't care about him. I saw a video of him smoking a cigar with a filter. Man up.
I'm not a big smoker, but when I smoke a cigar, there's no filter, right?
There's no filter.
Just do it.
The reason why people have the filter on, because it's supposed to take out the pollutants.
No, you're not making a cigar. You do it.
You want the pollutants. You want to be. I'm sitting there taking a nice Cohiba, or I have a Ashton Churchill. I'm not sitting there with a filter on it.
No, 100% not right. I mean, I remember smoking a cigar on my wedding day. My wife is going to kill me for this, and I'm hoping, because she's just through the other side of the wall, that she doesn't hear this. On my wedding day, she was mad at me. She's like, "You're going to get addicted." I was like, "One cigar? Like, come on."
One cigar does not get you addicted. They Ashton makes these nice ones. Are called Coronadas, and they're actually little cigars. No filter, of course, but they're little cigars. There's
no little cigars for me. You've seen the size of me, right? You know.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. There would be a jumbo cigar compared to you. I used to smoke those a lot, but I don't smoke as much as I actually haven't had a cigar in a while. I need to have one. Admirable Tom says, why does our brother over there always look like you just woke up from a fat nap? Because, Dom, what time is it?
It's 10 o'clock, and I came straight from the pub.
Dom when he comes on. Dom is 5 hours ahead. So when we start at 4, it's 9 o'clock his time. When we're going at 5, it's already 10 o'clock his time. So that's why.
Draft night, I will have just woken up from a nap because I'll go.
You better be on the ball.
Don't worry.
You not know Dom is running the draft board. I will be calling in directly from the draft, directly from either the Giants locker room, or I'll be calling in from the field. So Dom is in charge of the draft.
I've got the 20. Am I picking the 25th pick for us?
Dear
you saw that while you're there.
Dear Lord, let this happen. Let this work out, because Dom is in charge of. Dom is running the big board. Dom is in charge of the comment section. Dom is going to be in charge of everything draft night. I will be calling in and spending most of the draft when the Giants pick on the phone with Dom. You'll see us live from the stadium. But Dom, are you ready for this?
Well, once you teach me how to use the tech, but no, I'm looking forward to it.
This is a big responsibility, and we may have a big partner that is going to be sponsoring the draft.
No,
I don't want to talk about it yet, but we might have a big partnership coming in with the draft.
I mean, we're having a practice run, right? So that I know how to use the tech, right? Yeah.
We are gonna have a practice run before the draft. Cortez Smith, I'm crying and screaming at my TV, yelling because it seems we only had pass rushers on the defensive line. I'm watching guys run past Leo, wondering what the hell is he looking at? He's looking at his paycheck. Oh, $38 million. Didn't even use a gun.
Do you think he comes back after this contract?
No. People are like, what happens is this, they're going to extend him. No, they're not going to extend him. They're getting out of that contract.
The only way they extend him is because they need the cap space. But I think Shane he does not want to do that unless he is a last resort.
Very last resort. But he already.
I think he's already done it once.
Dead cap number 2024. Hey guys, what do you think of Jalen? I like Hyatt, and I've said this, Charlie. I would draft Hyatt. I would take Hyatt with the 25th pick if he was there. Reminds me of Devontae Smith. I don't think his frame, and Dom and I have talked about this a million times before. There are certain body types that you can't add mass to. You can add muscle, but you can't add mass. And I think he has that type of body type. I think he's just going to be a slender guy. I think Devontae Smith's going to be the same way. Tariq Hill, when he came in the league, was a little slight of build, but he bulked up. I just don't think that Jalen has it, but Jalen has the X factor. Jalen has the speed. Jalen reminds me of Devontae Smith. That's why I would personally take him if he was sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done so much on him, and I asked you about this last week about his route running because I see mixed reviews as to I've heard it kind of as competent. I've heard it described as unique, which is not good, and I've heard
unique is always bad.
And I've described exactly, and I've heard it described as really good. I think the consistent thing and what I've seen with Miles and the little bit I've done, and I need to look more into him, is definitely that speed and that big playability and yards after catch. If you get him in space, he's gone.
You get him in space, and that's the key. Now the thing is this, Dom, you put him on the outside, what's going to open up in the middle?
All that space for Waller.
If you need to bring over the top safety help for him, Waller could be sitting there in single coverage.
Yeah, because you're going to have to double him potentially because he particularly if you draft him and he goes big in the first 2-3 games, as you say, to your point, you're opening up the middle of the field there, 100%.
22 legs, guys. We got 30 something people in here. Let's get at least 30 legs. I'm sick and I'm doing this. I'm sick and I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Last week I was not well.
You gave me this cold.
Yeah, I transferred it through the wires to you.
I could tell. I've been blaming my wife, but I know you did it. Let's see. Giant 34 says, Tim, to me, the worst thing that happened to the Giants this offseason was Kafka coming back. His offensive was terrible, and it wasn't exciting or very productive against good defensive. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Dom, and we've talked about this before. We talked about this with Jason Garrett. We talked about this with Joe Shane. I'm not Joe Shane.
Judge.
Joe Judge. Thank you. We've talked.
He who must not be named.
He that shall not be named. You played to the strengths of your quarterback, and I think what they did was they kept it vanilla, and it's pretty much as vanilla as you can get. And I think they're going to play that. I think you're going to add some more wrinkles this year, but I think they're going to stay vanilla. And there's nothing wrong with winning. You win championships with a great defense and a competent offense that has a running game.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, exactly what I said. They criticise Garrett. They criticise Kafka, but you have to play with the ability of your quarterback. And I think we ran an offense based on what
Our
we had
quarterback
available
ability.
to us.
I will give Shane and actually I will give Dable and Kafka credit for the fact, and people forget about this too, Dom. It's selective memory, and I always say the mind wanders as distance becomes further and further from the season. There was a point in the season that people wanted to have Kafka not call the plays, that they wanted Brian Dable to call the plays. There was a stretch after the Texans game where people wanted to get rid of Kafka and bring it and let Dable call the plays.
I mean, I said all along that Kafka calling the plays is the smart thing. Last season, good, bad, or indifferent was
Gotta let him do it.
it was a free hit. So
Right.
you let him call the plays, and I
You
think
have
he
to.
improved throughout the season. I think there was some
I think
good
he,
games,
I
there
think
was some
he,
bad games, but I think overall the trajectory was up.
I think they did what they needed to do, and they ran the offense predicated on their quarterback's talent.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And as I say, I think he just got better as the season went on. If I'm honest.
Yeah, and that's what you got. That's the way you got to look at it. That's the way I look at it here. What do we got here? So I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was terrible.
No, I don't think he was terrible.
No, I don't think he was terrible. Let's see here. Court dismissed said, we are terrible at predicting the run Leo would be in the pass rushing stance rather than a run blocking stance, allowing guys to blow right past him.
That's what she said.
The problem with the Giants run was this, and this goes back 2 years ago, Dom, in the Cleveland preseason game. It's off tackle left, off tackle right, run up the middle, throw the ball up top. That was the way to play against. Even when Wink came in, that was the same way to play the Giants. The problem was this: you did not have guys who 100% understood positionally where they needed to be on the right end and the right outside linebacker position. We've talked about this. So they were not maintaining their assignments and controlling their area of the field. And now a good right defensive end and a good outside linebacker will help push the play into the field, into the middle of the field, and hopefully against your bigger guys. The problem was even when they did that successfully, our bigger guys weren't making the tackles and they were getting into the second level. Then you had people like Tate Crowder in the second level trying to mop up. That's a bad way to play defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree on it. I mean, and I think Thibodeau needs to. Yeah, that's an area of his game he needs to develop as well. To be more effective against those runs. But you're exactly right. I mean, the missed tackles. And you've got players like Crowder getting the level of tackles they have. He shouldn't be getting those amount of tackles because he shouldn't be getting to them as consistent as it was last season. And it was an issue. I think the defense will be better this year under Wink. I really do.
I do too. I think
we talked about it last year. We played Wink defense, but didn't have the players to play Wink defense.
And
I think who can do it and who can't.
I think it's going to improve. I think it's going to improve.
Yeah, I do massively,
and I think it's going to improve massively. But I think also the people have to learn their assignments more. And I've said it, Dom. I said it before, and I'm going to ask your opinion. Not that I really care what your answer is, but I'm going to ask your opinion. I said that we should take Kayvon Thibodeau and just park his ass at the right defensive end position. I know they want to move him around. I know they want him to be like a Parsons. They're not him and Parsons are not the same players. I think that you park him at the right defensive end position. You teach him the nuances of not only rushing the passer from hand in the dirt, but you also teach him how to maintain his assignment and control his edge against a run. And you put him more into an Osa Umenyiora, Justin Tuck role.
I mean, I can't disagree with you there. And I think he could be really effective from that point of view. I think a pure edge rusher is really, really important. And but I think we've got that in Ojulari. I think Thibodeau has the skills to be more than that. He can still be effective from those positions as you described, but he can be more than that if you coach him right and teach him right. And I don't think that's a terrible idea at all. And just use Ojulari as your pure pass rusher.
Right. You move Ojulari around. I don't care if people know that he's on the right side. I don't care because you drafted this guy, 5th overall. You want him to be a destructive force. Allow him to build continuity. Allow him to completely round out his game and kind of go from there. and let him learn a position and let him. You have Bobby Okereke as your linebacker. He's going to be your middle linebacker. You still need a right outside linebacker. You really do. And I want to get a good young right outside linebacker that you can pair with Kayvon Thibodeau and have them be a stalwart on that side of the Giants line for the next 10 years.
Where do you look to take your linebacker in this draft? Because I don't think it's a deep linebacker class.
It's not a deep linebacker draft, especially on the outside linebacker position. If you're going to take him, if you're really going to go linebacker, you got to take him in the second round.
I think so too. It's not a first round pick for me.
I don't see a lot of first round picks that in that outside linebacker.
And I think it dropped off rapidly after the second, third round.
I really do think you always get a surprise pick somewhere, but make sure you hit the like button when you come in. Giants 34 says, Tim, you can't take Hyde because he is DJ's kryptonite. He runs fast and runs players down the field. And DJ's going to check down for a 3-yard slant right to Slayton. You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong.
It's why I said I can't take. I mean, like I said, I think that I think our receiving core is better than last year, but it's far from perfect. But until I know that Daniel Jones will throw the ball, I can't look for that wide receiver one this year. Not in the first round.
You still can. Cortez Smith have dropped the run stopper, and I'm tired of Dallas and Philly taking the air out of the ball. I think you have run stoppers on this team, Dom. I really do, and I think going out to Indianapolis and grabbing Bobby. I think he's going to mop up kind of like I think he's a more athletic Blake Martinez. I think he's a more off the ball linebacker who can go sideline to sideline. If you did watch his film in Indianapolis, he has the athletic talent, but I think that I don't know how long he's been playing football because if you watch some of the things that he's done, and actually you can even watch it on that play against Daniel Jones in the Giant game, last game of the season, he gets out of position quite a lot. And I think he uses his speed.
He has those head in the hands moments quite a lot, doesn't he?
Yes. He's got a head scratching moment. So you're like, what the fuck did he just do? Why is he standing there? But I think a good coaching staff, and I'm not saying they didn't have a good coach staff in Indianapolis, but they won 4 games. But I think a good coaching staff sits there and will coach them up.
Yeah, hopefully. And look, there's more good than bad with Bobby as well. And I think you're right. The run stopping is better, but I mean, Cortez has nailed it here. I mean, Kayvon does need to learn how to set the edge. Hopefully, that can be coached into him. I think.
Yeah, you know what? Cortez Smith is 100% right. He doesn't know how to set the edge. He doesn't. He doesn't. And that's fine because he's going into year 2. Would I've liked him to have been further along in his ability to set the edge? Yes, I would like to have seen that. I've liked to see more of a progression against his plays versus the run than his pass rush. But you know what? Pass rushing is going to get you the highlights. I think stopping the run is going to get you wins. So he doesn't, but he's going to learn.
I think so.
He is going to learn. We got Kayvon needs to watch tapes of Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan, people forget about all the time, was such a good player against the run, such a good component against the run, even before he became the pass rusher that he was. Second rounder, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. We all know it. Jay says this is his 5th year. Who's 5th year? Daniel Jones? Yeah, this is his 5th year. What do we got here? We got Happy Hungry.
Half a decade, Tim, just to blow your mind again.
I know. I mean, that's. I keep thinking about that with Daniel Jones. We're half a decade into Daniel Jones's career, and we are still waiting for him to be a quarterback. Washington's gone through like 3 quarterbacks.
How dare you? How very dare you? He's the Messiah. How dare you?
A decade into this experiment. That's to me, that's mind-boggling. I mean, you think about that. I mean, Eli Manning, in 2000, he won a Super Bowl in 2007. He came into the league in 2004, and we wanted to get rid of him in 2000. Certain people wanted to get rid of him in 2007. You were giving Daniel Jones makes the playoffs once and beats a bad defense in Minnesota in the playoffs, and then gets wrecked against Philadelphia. And we're going to go a half a decade in to this experiment.
How many plus 300-yard games has Daniel Jones had through the air in his career?
In his career, do you know?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to say 6.
Oh, you've done him an injustice there. He's at 8.
He's got 8.
But it's not a lot.
And how many of those came in year 1?
I didn't check. I just looked at it now. But 2, 3.
I think like 3.
Yeah, 3. I 2 or 3 at least.
How many did he have during the season last year?
Well, last 1, wasn't it?
So 1
Maybe
was
2.
0.
Maybe 2. He's very good in a dome. Very good in a dome.
Great in the dome. Great in the
I mean,
dome.
honestly, if I was Minnesota right now, I would have probably taken a flyer on Daniel Jones. I probably would in that dome. Even New Orleans. I know they've. I mean, New Orleans, I think, have got a better quarterback as it happens, but he's very good in the dome. Very, very good in the dome. There's no question about that.
Mr. Alvarez says, as much as I like Neal, I need him on the left side of the line as a left guard and the draft a true right tackle. Actually, he played right tackle in college. He did play some right tackle in college, so it's not like he's unfamiliar with the position. No, I'm not. I can't move him to guard.
No, I mean, not if he struggles again as he did at times, and it wasn't consistently last season. Then maybe you look at moving him to guard, but no, you keep him at right tackle. I think it was a transition year, not a failure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Happy, humble, and hungry says, how far back are you comfortable trading in the draft?
Depends on how the board falls, but what 30? I said it earlier. 37, 38 would be as far back as I would want to trade back.
I think 38. That's what I said. As far back as I would want to go. And then, like I said,
I didn't know that, so we're
also probably getting a 5th rounder.
Yeah, you want to get something.
You want to get something besides that pick. So, I mean, I think that's the way. We're gonna knock off early today because my throat's just about shot. We have the Sunday show coming up. We got Dahmer running the board on Thursday. Make sure everyone stays tuned, stays in for that. Thank you, everyone, for coming in and hanging out with us.
I was about to say Friday, but of course it's Friday my time, Thursday yours.
It's Friday your time. This is Tim. This is the Dahmer. We're ending it early. I thank everyone for coming in, hanging out. It's a wrap. Much love and respect, as Chris for the love of MMA says. And we're out of here. Dom, don't go anywhere.